Okay, folks, we're going to get started. First of all, thank you, all of you, for coming here today. And we're going to have Christina Azakar, the chair of our department, take it to the
I'll be very short. Instead of from me. So I'm Christina Azokar, I'm the chair of the DeBolt department. I'm also an alumni, and I'm also the instructor for these here. So we all know that journalism is under attack right now, but we also all know how important it is to our democracy. And for us, I just want to assure everybody that we intend to make sure that you all know the importance of fairness and accuracy in reporting that can eventually lead to Pulitzer Prize winning reporting. And especially now, I know it's May Day, there's a lot of protests going on, but the reason that we are able to protest is because we have the First Amendment. And the First Amendment not only involves the right to protest, but it's the right to free speech and the right to a free press. And so I really, really thank Michelle Cannaville for organizing this panel today. I thank Dean Harris, the Dean of the College of Liberal and Creative Arts, for being here and learn a little bit more about what we do. And I especially thank all the students and faculty who are involved, Jesse and Scott, for making sure that this gets recorded for posterity. So Michelle, I turn it over to you. And thanks to the Alumni Association of the university for providing lunch for us right after. Thank you.
So, 2 weeks ago, we heard that the East Bay Times won a Pulitzer Prize for their coverage of the ghost ship fire, which of course was a tragic event that happened last December. And we realized that a number of the folks who worked on this project or worked on this series of stories were alumni of SF State, and we got very proud and very excited for them. And it turns out that there were actually 10 San Francisco State journalism graduates who were involved in the coverage of this fire. And we have 3 of them here now, and another one on his way, trying to get across the bridge, I think. So what I wanted to do was have each person say a little bit about yourself, where you came from, your time, maybe just a little bit about your time at San Francisco State. So we'll do some introductions, and then we'll launch into the story. So we have mics actually now for all of you. So I wanted to start with you, David.
I'm not used to mics. So I'm David DeBolt. I'm a graduate of SF State. It wasn't that long ago that I was taking the chair you guys are in now. I graduated in 2009. I was a transfer student from Contra Costa College out in San Pablo in East Bay. And I've been working for Daily News for about 7+ years now. Palo Alto, Fairfield, now Bay Area News Group. And I can speak more about the coverage, but I'm truly bad about talking about myself and all work. So hang with me for that. Most of the professors here I had them in class, and my time here was very valuable. I worked on the Express. And I learned a lot, not just, in terms of, reporting, but, as a paginator, as an editor, learned sort of a lot of the sort of basics of journalism, like my news, value and instinct was, shaped here. So you guys are in a good place. And I think SF State, as far as our, coverage one, I think we were well represented. I don't know of any other school that had 10 reporters on that project. So you all should be proud of the students here.
Cecily.
Can you hear me about me lifting this thing up? I came to San Francisco State. I had another career before I became a journalist, and so I was a little bit older student. But anyway, I was going through the classes at City College actually, and I ended up transferring here to San Francisco State with the intention of getting a degree in communications. And let's just say that my first news writing class was with Kurhi Smith, who I think she's been gone for a while. Anyway, so I just loved her. She was so dynamic, and I'm sure that a lot of you have similar stories about some of your professors that really made a difference in your lives and how they really helped shape the direction of your making to your career. So that was sort of for me. So I was here. I spent, I think, I worked 3 semesters on the Gator newspaper, and as a reporter and as an editor, we all just took in and do the layouts and the design and all that sort of stuff. So it was a very rewarding experience, and I think that it really helped shape me as a journalist. It really helped train me as a journalist. They treated us all like professionals. The professors treated us like professionals, expected us to be professional as much as we could, and really prepared us to go out into the world and try and hit the ground running and be the best that we can be. So I'm hoping that all of you will do the same thing. And it's really gratifying to see so many San Francisco State graduates. I come through the paper and not just work on the ghost ship fire, but just have come through the paper over the years. I used to work with Rochelle, by the way, at the Open Tribune. And so she was a good colleague. And anyway, that's about it. I also wanted to share something that I brought with me from one of my last semesters at the
Yeah, for those of you who don't know
this
the
was
Game
made
Express
25 years ago. It was called the Game. So anyway, this is the T-shirt that we made up some of the crazy headlines that we had our last semester there. So there was a big camp from the first bombings of Baghdad. We would camp out in Quad, and we had the sex scandal on campus. And there was, Kurhi was the president, and we were always after him. And of course, I think August Opala was also doing something. Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Chu. I grew up in East Bay, graduated in '99, and Scott Tucker is a classmate of mine. Put classes together, took reporting from the fall. So and Kurhi was a professor, a professor here when I was attending. I learned a lot from him, a lot of the faculty members, all of my classmates. Definitely all gave me the foundation that I had. When I went out and did my first internship, I knew what I was doing. It was great. So definitely owe a lot to the school here. It's a great program.
Right, thanks for the introduction. So now let's talk about the morning of December 3rd, 2016. Maybe, I don't know, I know Craig, we're still waiting for, wants to maybe start. Maybe you can talk about where you were and when you first started out.
So I was actually heading out of town for a weekend away on the road when I took my phone and saw I had a bunch of missed calls. One was from Harry Harris, was a longtime crime reporter who was the first on the scene for this. He got a call from a fire source at 3:30 in the morning and said, "You better get down here. This doesn't look good." Harry, as he usually does, does his duty, got up and drove down there and started calling everybody. I'm sure I wasn't really. And he called me at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. There's no way I was awake at that time. I phone was Sunday. But so I saw these missed calls, and as I'm driving, I got a call from a friend of mine who said, "I'm sure you're really busy right now. You're probably at the scene." And she was talking frantically. I had to stop her and say, "I don't know what you're talking about. What's going on?" She said, I can't find Benjamin. I can't find Imelda. I can't find Don. I don't know where they are. They're not picking up their phone. They were at that party last night." And these are her friends. I know these people through her, seen around. So I kind of, I said, "Hold on one second. Let me call somebody." So I called the source of mine and I said, "Hey, my friend's calling me. Her friends were at that party out in Fruitvale last night, and she wants to know what hospitals they're at, so she can go visit them." And I forget, the source said, I said, "David, there were no ambulances that came to that party last night." And I said, "What do you mean? There's 25 people missing. What do you mean there was no ambulances?" And he said, "I can't confirm anything at this point. I'm just telling you, don't go to the hospitals." So then I had to call my friend back, and he pretty much lied and said, call Kaiser, call Hyman, call the burn units. And I knew it was really bad at that point. And it's in Napa, and I just kind of stopped what I was doing and started working the phones for us on day one. And I was supposed to stay through Sunday, but after that night, I just got in the car and drove back first thing Sunday morning to join the team back in the newsroom because I knew I couldn't get away from that. And the gravity set in that day. I wasn't in the newsroom; I was miles away, but I could feel the hurt from there. It just felt something extremely terrible happened. And just by talking to people, long time, cops and firefighters, you can tell in their voice when something is different. And that day, they just sounded like they had witnessed a massacre, and it sort of turned out to be a devastating moment for our city.
Yeah. So that morning, I was actually scheduled to work late shift. I woke up, I saw some emails, and knew something was going on, but I hadn't really gotten up. And so about maybe a half hour later, I got a call from Mark Dufresne, our deputy photo editor, saying, "Hey, we need to get you out there." And so I'm here together, and I went out to the scene, and we had Chief Photographer Laura Oda and the staff photographer for Chavez. They had been out for several hours. Ray was at the scene. Laura was at the police substation where the family members were together. And so when I got on the scene, so we had Ray doing stills, and I was asking she to focus a little bit on video. So I was doing video and still, and we heard a little bit about what was going on, but then we started doing the news conferences, and we wanted to broadcast those things. So that kind of became my role. I did those, and then as the news conferences went on, the numbers just kept rising. It was, just knowing that so many lives. I was out there doing what I needed to do. It was definitely insane to do.
Well, so I'm an editor at the paper, and I work in a primarily in Oakland. So on that particular day, or actually the night before we all went out to apply to a former colleague of ours, and then I had a house guest, and so I almost always have my phone nearby, but I left it off, and I didn't check my messages next day. I slept in, and when I finally went to get my phone about, I think it was 8:30 or something like that, I looked and I had all these calls and all of these emails. And And so I called in and find out what was going on. And when I heard the news, I started talking to people, and then a lot of the people at that point had already been deployed, called and been sent out to the scene or to various places. So anyway, there was a conference call at noon with all of the editors, and to talk about what we were going to do and how we were going to handle coverage. So I just got dressed and went into the office, and it was pretty, as Ann said, it was pretty clear that this was a really catastrophic event. That this was something that was much bigger than we initially typical fire. I mean, whenever anybody dies, it's a horrible tragedy. But this was, we already knew, I think it was 6 bodies, and it was 9 bodies, and we knew that there was a lot of people that were missing. So my job that day was to just help coordinate the coverage and then start editing the stories that were coming in and helping to decide who was going to do what. And I will say that I was looking back through my emails this morning and last night, and there would be email strings with 100 email responses and just dozens and dozens of people on the strings just responding back and forth about who was going to this bar to look for survivors, friends or kin, who was going to make the phone calls to start calling the people that we knew had died, who was going to go down to the sheriff's office, who was going to go to the coroner's office. As David said, there was, unfortunately, there was most people either made it out okay or you didn't make it out. And so we were trying to figure out whether we should go to the hospitals or what should happen, and it was really awful. So anyway, early on, so we were doing the typical things that you do, covering the fire, going to the scene, waiting for press conferences, trying to dig. San Jose, and our sister paper that immediately came out to Oakland. People in Walnut Creek that came to Oakland that either just went directly to the scene without even being asked. 2 business reporters were the primary people that were calling the victims and tried to know the victims' names through social media or Facebook, however they could. And it was an interesting time because also a lot of the people that were there had they either had changed their identity trans, or they were had changed their names. They no longer looked like their birth names. So it was really a challenge for everybody to try for those people to try and get a hold of the families and the friends and the loved ones of those victims. And I don't know if you've ever had to do this yet, but it's one of probably the first things that you have to do when you go out and get a job is call somebody's family that who died in a horrible way. And these people did it. Eric Kurhi was supposed to be here, was also part of that team. And there was a team of about 5 or 6 people that all did it for about a week. So it's just one of the things that happens. And so we also started digging right away into why this happened, who owned the building, who was the person who was leasing the space in the building. I mean, just on day one, we had a couple of people who were working on that aspect. What was it zoned for? What was it supposed to be used for? Who put on this party? Who was there was a lot of different events, sort of simultaneous events that were happening there that night, and there was a promoter that was promoting the event, the dance party. And so really just digging into all those bits and pieces of information to try and get a picture of what really happened and who was there. And also digging into the city records to find out why this building, which it was described as finding the studies and pictures of what it was like inside, how people were in and had events that so permits, collaborative permits, people were supposed to be living there. David was part of the team that really dug into the whole permitting process, and there was a lot of really amazing stories that came out that first weekend and the first week and the second week and the third week. And since then, they continue to dig every day. There, in that kind of situation, what that's like, and how you show empathy through your job as an employee.
Sure. So I should say that most credit goes to my colleagues. I wasn't a part of that team in the initial days, but I've since talked to family members and friends. And it's not the first time I've done it. I mean, like Cecily said, when you're in this job, sometimes you're going to knock on a door, and it might be you're the first person who's telling somebody that your loved one has died. It's never easy. I've talked to mothers who have lost, 2 sons to street violence within a month, out in Oakland. You just have to, it's hard for me to explain, but you just have to, approach things, sensitively. But what I found is people want to talk about their loved ones, for good or bad. If they lost somebody, they want to tell their story. And approaching it the right way is, first of all, identify yourself as who you are. Sometimes you get a door slammed in your face. Sometimes you might get a shove. These are really hard times for people when they're going through these, first stages of mourning. You don't know what to expect, but what they should expect from you is to be courteous, explain who you are, and just say you're here to tell the story of their loved one. And I found more times than not, people are willing to, let you come into their home, sit down on the couch, and have a long talk with them about who that person was, what happened to them, and just about anything. I mean, you're kind of a counselor at that point, and negotiate. As I was explaining, on that first day, I wasn't only reporting, I was getting calls from friends who, coming to me as a source because they had lost friends and didn't know where their friends were. So as I'm communicating back to the newsroom, I'm also talking to my, my friends who I know from local time, trying to explain to them, what I know at that time, the most accurate information I have, and also, where they can go, as far as the Red Cross or the hospitals, or who to call. So, I mean, sometimes, when you're a local news reporter and a lot of people in town, they're going to come to you as not just a friend, but as somebody who can give them information. And generally, I wouldn't do that because I get away with my job. But I felt on that day, people were hurting so much and needed so many, things answered. I felt that it was my duty to, call my friends back and tell them, what I knew. And at one point, not to sugarcoat it. Just say, look, it's not looking good. I don't think anybody made it out of there alive. From that second floor. Based on what we know right now. And that was, truly, a difficult job and not one that I really wanted to do, but I felt, given the access I have to, sources and fighters and, police people and the sheriff's office, that, I get some help there, not just the stories we told, but just, as a member of the community in Oakland.
Our other speaker has joined us. You have a story about someone that day too.
Sure, thanks for having me, and I apologize for being late. I apparently forgot in the last 20 years how long it takes to get here from East Bay. Well, when I pulled in that parking garage, I should have run up about that some I'm the East Bay Metro editor for the East Bay Times, so I oversee all of our local news coverage in East Bay, along with Cecily and David. I was heavily involved in our coverage of the ghost ship fire from the day it occurred, through the following week and weeks, and we're continuing to produce stories. So, just briefly, in terms of what happened in terms of my role that day, it was a Saturday morning, and as you might imagine, Saturdays and weekends are days where newspapers, particularly nowadays, more so than ever, are very thinly staffed. We have a very skeleton crew usually. Each day we have one editor and 2 reporters, one working early in the morning, one working late at night to kind of monitor breaking news. So it's definitely not like a traditional situation where you have the vast majority of your staff readily available. So that morning, what I usually do on Saturday mornings is I just try to check in online through email or my phone just to make sure nothing really important or big is going on that I need to deal with. Usually the routine stuff can be handled by our staffing, our limited staffing room that day. So that particular day, for whatever reason, I'm always misplacing my phone at home. I can just, my wife drives my wife nuts. I'm always saying, where's my phone? Where's my phone? I can't find it. She actually bought me like a Han Solo cell phone holder for Christmas so that I could remember where it is. But anyway, so I couldn't find my phone that morning as is typical. And so I'm thinking, I hope no one's trying to reach me. Oh, nothing's really big's going on today. So I better log on to the computer and just make sure. So about 9 or 10, I logged in, and immediately I saw either on Facebook or our website, I saw our initial story up, which had been online since about 4 or so that morning. And so we already had a huge running start, which was great because probably already heard about our longtime Oakland reporter, Harry Harris, who's been around for 50 years, and so first person to know about everything that happens in the city. So he found out and got the tip, and we had a story up and running and been updated throughout the morning. Basically, at that point, we just had basic information that a major fire had taken place, and it looked like there were some fatalities. It wasn't clear how many. At that point, we were thinking there might have only been a handful of fatalities. I should say only, because every fatality is obviously tragic. But at that point in the morning, we had no concept that, at the end of the day, 36 people would have lost their lives. So I checked in immediately with their editor, our longtime breaking news editor who was working with Harry online story going. The immediate, issue I had to deal with there is how to deploy resources, how to bring in more resources. This is a major story. We're going to have to call in a lot more resources in terms of reporters, editors, photographers. So I just basically started doing what would be obvious with my dad. Just picked up the phone, calling reporters I knew who were in the area, who might be able to get out there quickly, checking with other editors, both in the East Bay and South Bay, including our managing editor, and just started deploying, trying to deploy resources. It was an amazing thing to see because from like 10 a.m. in the morning, basically having like one person or 2 people that were trying to keep the online story going. Within a couple of hours, we probably had a dozen people, between photographers, reporters, editors, that were standing out and jumping on the story in various ways. And from that standpoint, you went from the situation of worrying whether you had enough people to having so many people that then the issue was how do we coordinate and how do we communicate and assign responsibilities and make sure we're all on the same page. And so that's kind of what my role was throughout that day.
So this started as a big breaking news story. It became a huge breaking news story. But then it turned into an investigative story. And David, you were involved in that. Can you talk a little bit about the investigation that your staff was involved in?
Sure. It became apparent on that Saturday afternoon. A longtime investigative reporter, Thomas Peel, his mind works in a different way. As soon as he came into the newsroom, he sort of brushed aside everything else and focused on, okay, what is this building zoned for? It's a Saturday afternoon. City Hall is closed. We have limited access to new documents. But thankfully, for all purposes, the City Hall website had some basic information on it. And he was able to find, very quickly that there were code inspectors at that building. I think it was on November 30th, if I'm not mistaken, just a week or so before the actual fire, to investigate reports of illegal interior structures. We didn't quite know what that means, but to us it said, they were told people were building inside there, possibly living there. And a zoning record showed us that that place was only permitted for commercial use, meaning nobody was allowed to live there. So we, so right away, like, knew something was wrong. We knew that he was fishy there on that. So I think first thing Monday morning, I got up, after working like a 14-hour shift on Sunday. I walked to City Hall as soon as it opened at 8:30 a.m. I asked for all the records associated with that building. And I was told, no, I couldn't get those records. And that, I've, gone there, a handful of times, asked for similar records. And every time they say, here you are, Mr. DeBolt, here's the records, free of charge. I go back, he's not writing my story. But that day I was told, no, you have to go to the city administrator's office. We're filing all information through that office. So I threw a fit, of course, but didn't go anywhere. So I went to the city administrator's office, and they shook their heads no as well. And that began a fight, for our newspaper to get routine records from the city, which, at one point went as far as having our staff attorney threaten to sue the city to release the records because they were withholding fire and police records, the things we needed to see to be able to tell the people what happened that night and what happened before that night, and what the red flags there were. And when they finally did release them, we got 600 pages, and it showed that not only were police and fire and code inspectors there, but there's all types of government officials from county to CPS that showed up there, and that went inside and that saw the red flags, but for whatever reason, it never led to, fire inspection there. And then we finally found out that the reason there wasn't any fire inspection at the Ghost Ship Warehouse is because it wasn't even on the fire inspection rules for the city. This place was truly underground. City Hall had no sense of what was going on there. And they have these roles in their database. So you go there each year to inspect places, but the Ghost Ship Warehouse was never even on their the radar. So from there, we've been writing more and more about the visits from firefighters, from police, when they showed up, what they did, and that's through a lot of gumshoe reporting, through sort of understanding what the Public Records Act is and what we're entitled to, and I would encourage everybody to through school here, when you're at state, really learn what you're entitled to as a reporter, and learn how to file a Public Records Act, because a lot of what we do is document based, and that was truly the case for the Ghost Ship coverage. And I think that's what set our reporting apart from other organizations. Very early on, from the get-go with Thomas Peel at noon on a Saturday, looking up to see what the Ghost Ship was zoned for.
Anyone else want to talk about the investigation?
So in addition to that sort of investigation, David and Thomas and Matthias Gaffney, the reporter, and Aaron Davis had also uncovered that these are rumors that were circulating, I think, that first weekend about the electrical, because some of the people who would live there, when the people who would live there, mentioned that they were pirating electricity from another building to provide power to the warehouse, the Ghost Ship Warehouse. And so they kept digging and working their sources. And there was a couple of other businesses that were part of that sort of block warehouse structure that were burned out also. They had to leave. And through some just public records, but also just really dogged reporting and working with sources and getting a hold of people, meeting with them after work and during work, they were able to find out that that all of this, not only was the electricity being pirated, but it had been worked on previously without codes, that there was had been a fire in the electrical transformer originally they were building before, that they had patched a hole in the wall to provide wiring going into the warehouse. And I mean, it was just a really amazing story and the fact that both the person who was leasing space in the warehouse and also the person who owned it were clear there that all this stuff had been done. We never did anything about it.
It wasn't quite Watergate, but we met some resources in like, very sort of dingy watering holes and places where we knew that no firefighter or no city hall person would walk into, so it was safe to interview them.
Yeah, and just to add on the day of the fire itself, even though it was a Saturday, and as Data pointed out, City Hall was closed, and most records that we would be interested in looking at weren't readily available. The fact that our longtime investigative reporter Thomas Peel was able to do a quick internet search and discover some basic information about the building, what it was zoned for, and if there had been some complaints. That was amazing to be able to story this magnitude when the focus from the day one is so much about trying to just pin down how many people died, what happened during the fire, and that basic information. That to supplement that with a strong investigative piece that showed that there were problems, that there were red flags with this building, and to have that online within a few hours of the fire itself was an amazing accomplishment, I thought, and I think that really just built our momentum. I felt like I kind of made a comparison to some people that I felt like on this story in particular. It certainly doesn't always happen this way. About a year earlier, we had to deal with the Berkeley balcony collapse and the fatalities there, and we put this much effort and work into that. And some things went well, some didn't. But this was a situation where it felt like we had a mile head start of the marathon from the minute the fire happened and with the work Harry Harris did, and then we just continued to build on that lead throughout the day, the following days, and it was just a tremendous team effort. And it was really testament to all the experiences we'd all been together through previously with big breaking stories in Oakland and elsewhere in previous years, and what we had learned from those experiences and how we were able to apply those lessons, good and bad, from this story. It was just amazing how it came together in such a remarkable way.
Can you talk a little bit about the multimedia? I know you use storify and video and photos and text, graphics. Can you maybe talk a little bit about how you pulled all that together?
We actually we had a video team that we just recently been kind of put together. So that was helpful as far as video. I was shooting video at the scene the first day and just sending that footage back to the office for video editing was working on that. All the reporters out there were sending out social media reports on this, and then we had run through this back in the office. I don't know who.
Well, we had a lot
Pulling all that in, and getting all that out.
Right, we had a lot of editors. I mean, pretty much every editor within our organization, not just East Bay, but South Bay, came in that weekend and played a role in terms of packaging the content online. And there was fortuitous in that we had just, as Anna mentioned, we had just put more resources and efforts into the video side of things, and we've been steadily trying to build our our tools on the website for the multimedia packaging. And so if this had happened 6 months earlier, I'm not sure we would have been just probably as good a job as we did.
We try to do storify pretty regularly. Philly County is a big breaking of that. We have one video person who's pretty adept at that in our open office, George Kelly, who I'm not sure if he was the one who did this, but he tries to put together all the social media and create a storify for that. And also just when we're writing breaking stories, we'll embed tweets into into the online stories. The graphics that were there, I think we have graphics that as soon as we figure out the layout of the building, we sent in information to try to put together the graphics.
I'm going to ask one last question and then we'll open it up. And that is, can you talk a little bit about the decision to nominate this for a Pulitzer and then what it was like to win, and also the bittersweet quality of winning a Pulitzer for the biggest tragedy in the city?
Well, as far as I can talk about nominating, and I think David would have some good things to say about the bittersweet element of this, since he, I think more so than anyone on our staff, saw the grief face to face. You know, it was interesting. I commented to a few people that about a week or so after the fire, when the dust started to settle, dust started to clear a bit, and we were able to, somewhat, take a breath and look at what we had done. It was so, it was so, like I mentioned previously, it was so amazing the way our staff came together and the quality of the work we did. And so normally, I've never been in like 20 plus years, and I never really thought about, here's a story we should enter for the Pulitzer. And I've never really allowed myself to kind of think at that level. But for whatever reason, I felt so strongly about the work we had done. I started thinking in terms of we should nominate this for the Pulitzer pretty quickly, and I kind of ran it up the flagpole, and some of our top editors, concurred to say, yeah, we've already started talking about that. And I was really happy. And the actual work to put the whole entry together and the package together, which is sitting on the screen, and that literally took days. And our managing editor, Burt Robinson, and one of our production desk editors, Mike Mayer, really took the lead on packaging this entry together in a way that really captured the timeline and the depth and breadth of the coverage. So it's interesting for me looking at it reflectively. I mentioned in an interview I did with the communications officer that I never really, I'm not the kind of person by nature really gets our hopes up and think, we should win a Pulitzer, we can win a Pulitzer. But I thought the work we did on this was so special that not only did I feel strongly about entering for the Pulitzer, but I really felt like from the beginning, we were going to be a strong contender. And I really wasn't shocked when we won. I really wasn't. I'm not one of these people that gets arrogant about these things. I'm not, I usually would downplay our chances of those things, especially, with the Pulitzer going across against the biggest stories. Biggest papers and the biggest stories in the country over the past year in the breaking news category. But it was a story that got a lot of national attention. It had a lot of very unique, different elements to it that a lot of the other, mass shooting type stories really didn't have in terms of the living conditions and what was going on at this building in the months and years leading up to it. So I felt good and confident and optimistic all the way through, and I think I would have been disappointed or surprised if we hadn't won. I'm surprised to say that.
I'm surprised you said that.
First, I should say that there's no question that myself and the staff, give this award back. It was that 36 people hadn't died. That was. It's truly bittersweet to win something for something so tragic. Historically, what they now call the breaking news category, the Pulitzer Prize goes to people who cover something horrific. And that's exactly what our job was that day. To tell you a story about the day that we actually won the award, it was a Monday morning, and me and Matthias Gaffney had just finished writing a story about a man who died under fire in Oakland, down on San Pablo Avenue in West Oakland, where 4 people tragically died, 3+ months after the ghost ship, another preventable fire. And we kind of huddled around on his cubicle there. There were no bosses to be seen. She doesn't come into work for later, so Cecily gets a pass. But we didn't think we were going to win anything. We just kind of watched it on the laptop and watched the live feed from Columbia University, and just kind of sitting there, slumming in East Bay like we normally do. And there was a second award announced, and they said for coverage of the ghost ship fire at Oakland, California. And Thomas Peele started screaming so loud, I couldn't hear it. They said the San Francisco Chronicle or the East Bay Times. So I didn't cheer until I knew we had actually won it, because that would have been truly embarrassing. But it was a great day. This was a team effort. What's cool about the newsroom is there's a lot of different people who have a lot of different skills. Everybody comes together and brings what they have to the table in a collaborative way. And that's what we have in our staff. A lot of us live in Oakland or have covered Oakland for a long time. This was in our backyard, and we were not going to back down. We were going to tell the stories, with sensitivity, but also with tough questions. And that was a balance that we struck from day one, and we continue to do from now on as people are being still displaced from the units in Oakland, and we're still asking tough questions at City Hall about what happened that night. We'll get to the bottom of it one day, but I think you've done a good job so far.
Just to echo that real quickly, is I would echo what he was saying. I think we all feel the same way that if Luke Valley gives us the award back, the next 36 people who are alive today, and I think that's bittersweet quality that's weighed on us all. I think at the same time, I think it's a great testament to the power of journalism and the feeling that you can affect change and make a difference. And I think what we all would like to take away from this is the belief that our reporting and what we did will in some ways prevent the tragedy like this from happening again. And whether you win a Pulitzer or not, we've all been a part of stories over the years that have uncovered problems or wrongdoing or flaws in various aspects of our society. And our work has led to changes in laws that can protect the most vulnerable. And for so many, I think that's the greatest gratification that any of us get out of this discussion. If the feeling can affect change. You can't, it's not just a matter of pointing your finger and saying someone screwed up, someone did something wrong. It's what happens next. You're going to do your reporting, you can open those eyes and make changes to protect people who are vulnerable or helpless, who don't have a voice. That's what it's all about.
Christina, could you take this mic and take questions? While she's coming over, I will ask one other question, and that is, what's going on in Oakland now? What with illegal, with illegal warehouses, with people crammed into small living spaces, with fire inspection? What's happened? Have things changed in the last few months?
I can probably answer that question. One of the reporters that isn't another reporter who's been working on this pretty much since that weekend is looking at the impact of what happened at Ghost Ship on other artist spaces. And there's a lot of artist spaces in Oakland that were warehouses that were constructed illegally, and there was quite a big crackdown afterwards. Because landlords, I think, were fearful that the same thing was going to happen there, they were going to get caught, or something, they were going to get in trouble. At the same time, then the city and mayor, Libby Schaaf, was quite an advocate for arts. She really ran in on a platform supporting the arts in Oakland. So it was really kind of an uncomfortable situation for her to be able to say, well, we have to keep people safe. We can't let another tragedy like happen, but at the same time, trying to stem these evictions that were happening in the arts community. So there's been a few efforts since then to try and work with the arts community, do-it-yourself community, to make these sorts of warehouses where people are living there illegally, to try and make life safety improvements to the buildings so that people can try and stay there. it hasn't, it's been successful sort of, but not really. There's still quite a few evictions that are happening as a result of that. And it really hasn't been, supposedly the city is working with the planners and building department, are working with various landlords to try and work with them on their buildings. But I think there's going to be a lot more coming up. I mean, you saw in San Francisco the Chronicle covered story last week, I think it was, or earlier, or maybe it was on the weekend, about some art spaces growing up. It reminded me of the Ghost Ship inside. We had done, construction and create these little living spaces for artists there. The sheriff went in and evicted them all. So there's reverberations around the country.
I have a pretty loud voice, so you might be able to hear me. What's the status on the two people that knew about what was going on at the Ghost Ship house? What's happening with the landlord or the person on the space?
So you're referring to Derek Almina, the master tenant?
Yeah.
Joining? Okay. There's an ongoing criminal investigation that's still ongoing. We do expect there to be criminal charges. And from what we're hearing, it could range from Derek as a master tenant to the landlord. I mean, obviously, the landlord is responsible for life safety measures at that building. That can come any time. We've been hearing about charges, for months now. So, I think through our reporting too, I heard from one DA source that we wrote about one character who was involved in the electrical work there. And I don't think they knew about. So they're still digging into it. Our group of reporters has beaten them to a couple of things, and this is a very complex case. But from the very beginning, the DA Nancy O'Malley did say that she's looking at charges anywhere from manslaughter to second-degree murder. So at some point, we'll know the full scale of the charges. But I do anticipate the landlord and the master tenant, and if not others who worked on the electrical outlets there, could face charges in this case.
And I will have everybody speak into the microphone. It's very important. Well, most of the stories you guys write, this is in your backyard. But I think Ghost Ship is very personal and a massive story. And like David said earlier, you guys had a lot of personal connections on top of it. Some of you did. How was it writing something so intense and so in depth? Trying to get all the accurate information, trying to get all that information to the public while also trying to be professional and not let those personal ties get in the way.
Well, I mean, it was my job. So, as tough as it was some days, and it was tough for everybody in the newsroom. There was a lot. I mean, there were tears, there were hugs. I mean, I've never hugged a colleague in the newsroom before, but I definitely hugged a few that week, especially the reporters who were calling family members all week long. I mean, it's exhausting. And, people work 12 to 14-hour days, writing about something that, tragic and horrific. It's not easy, but I think, collectively, when breaking news hits, you kind of go into a different kind of, mode. Like you just, everybody showed up that Saturday, that Sunday for relief, and you just know you have a job, to do. Everybody pitches in, and in the newsroom there is, some comfort knowing that we got colleagues who are going through the same thing, and we talk about everything. We talk about our feelings, we talk about the stories, but that adrenaline and wanting to sort of make sure that we got the story correct and also got it out as soon as possible. That, I mean, for me, sort of swept away any of the emotions I had. And it wasn't until a few weeks later when I met with my friend who called me that day. We went out to have drinks, with the mom of one of the victims, just to kind of, sort of look back, and she was a good source through all this, and I mean, she's much stronger than I was, but the mom, she thanked us for our coverage and said, you guys, were the most accurate and most sensitive, and she just couldn't say more. And the weird thing about that night was, I'll never forget it, we're sitting at the alley, which is on Grand in Oakland, and there's little jars, for all the friends, and within all this ashes, she gave each friend, one tiny jar, And they sat there, you know, through our whole hour that we were there having a drink and talking. And, you know, that's when it got personal for me that night. But, you know, until then, it was just, you know, our job to, you know, serve the community that we live in and also we report on. And I think, you know, it's the same here at SF State. Like, this is, you know, where you guys live right now. This is where you go to school. You know, this is, you guys are the experts here. You know, and I think that's what, you know, I'll take away is a lot of the reporters that worked on the ghost ship coverage, you know, have deep connections to Oakland. And when 36 people die in a fire, you don't know somebody that died, you know somebody who died in a fire. And it was felt throughout the Bay Area, especially in
you know, I mean, every breaking news situation is different. You know, you go in and when you're covering it, it's important to remember that everybody is a person. You're there to do your job, you're working the story, you're looking for the images that you want to do. But you know, you gotta remember that people, sometimes you try to put yourself in their shoes. And you do what you can, and sometimes, you know, maybe you don't. That's the life. But like I said, every situation is different. And you just kind of go in there and figure out how this one's going to work. And then you can use that to best.
And just quickly to add on, you know, from the editing side of things, you know, we're a layer removed, so we don't see the bleed up front the way David and others do. But you know, having been in the business for, you know, over 20 years, it's something that traditionally hasn't not been talked about a lot in journalism. I think that's something that needs to change. Depending on what field of journalism you may decide to go into, you may be dealing with tragedy and grief on a regular basis or even a daily basis. And it impacts people. You will be human if it doesn't. And, you know, some people, you know, the adrenaline issue is interesting because that's something that's at the core of journalism and people who go into this field. They feel that adrenaline, that rush to get the story, to make a difference, to get it right. But, you know, from the editing standpoint, I've seen so many, you know, tragic stories over the years. There was, you know, for this, the balcony collapse until students, the J.C. Dugard story from several years ago. You know, there's been lots of others as well, the Pulitzer shooting in Oakland. And there's times where reporters or photographers will be surrounding themselves with the story for days, hours on end, and dealing with, you know, that grief head on. And it's just something that in journalism, there is an issue, a PTSD-like issue that journalists often face that we're becoming more aware of now. That's never really been discussed or talked about the same way as it's in the military. And it's something that I think as students and the next generation coming up, is something that people really need to be sensitive to. Because people, it is possible to get burned out from dealing with this tragedy, or it can affect you in ways over years that you don't fully understand at the time. So it's definitely an important issue and something that I wish had been talked about when I was a student or when I was starting out, and I think there's a lot of tools that can be used to try and navigate these emotions. And I think that the fact that I think that the business and the industry is being more sensitive to it now is a good thing.
Craig, thank you very much for those comments. That's exactly where I was going to go with my question, but first, congratulations to the whole team and the colleagues, and thanks for coming to San Francisco State. So we've now begun to realize that journalists are first responders, just like firemen and firefighters, police officers, military, etc. It sounds like your staff has really been great about treating people in this way with great sensitivity. I think Jamie especially for this story. And for telling us that maybe you shouldn't take a photo at some point. Can you say a little bit more about how these State Times as an institution has tried to think about how to deal with trauma for the staff? Because a lot of times we these cases of PTSD don't really come out until many years later, like 5 years, 10 years. I've had many conversations with journalists who 10 or 20 years later start crying when they retell the story of covering, knocking on the door, as they have said, having to be the first one to tell mother that every child was killed.
Well, yeah, I'll just say that I think it's something we haven't done nearly enough of, and it's something that's difficult to figure out how to address because, there's so many issues in our industry going on right now in terms of, struggles to remain viable, to maintain staffing. There's so many pressures and burdens on journalists in so many different aspects. If they want to be sensitive to each one of those, I think that it's something that as an organization we have to be more open to addressing. I can't say we really have addressed it in a very systematic way. I just, as a leader, I just try to make it clear to folks that I'm sensitive to it. I understand it's there. I think in the days after the negotiation, some of our reporters have been out there for day after day, for 12 or 14 hours. I was kind of, trying to be a bit aggressive and saying, we need to pull this person out for a moment. We need to give this person a break. How is she doing? Or he's doing emotionally? And I think among the management staff, there was some discussion of that on that Monday. Okay, we're all kind of the first weekday back, and we're all kind of gathered back and talked about what we need to do next. There was some talk about some people have been home nonstop since 7 a.m. Saturday morning. Where are they mentally? So you have to deal on a case-by-case basis because different people react to deal with these issues in different ways. Some people will, try to pull back and try to talk about this. They're going on adrenaline and they think you're crazy. I want to go after the story. It's not affecting me, but maybe when the dust settles a week or a month or a year later, it does affect you. And I think one thing in journalism too, it goes beyond just the tragedy of breaking news, but we focus one thing I've kind of come to realize, think about more in the last year or so, is we spend so much time just in general focusing on bad stuff, things that are wrong. Whether it's tragedy like this or corruption or mismanagement or people not having able to afford to live in the Bay Area or what have you. There's so much. That's how you make change, by finding out what's wrong, getting to the bottom of it, and opening up a discussion. But sometimes it can also blur you. You focus so much on what's going wrong, you lose sight of the progress that's being made in some areas. And I think the media in general, you look back to the last presidential election campaign, we played a role in creating an overly dark view of the world and society. But I think when you look at all the facts and step back, you really don't, you lose sight of the progress that's been made in a lot of areas. And we hear about, things like carnage in our country. You look at it historically, compare it to what was happening in the 1960s or, World War II, the Depression. I mean, it's so easy to kind of lose that perspective. I think as journalists, you kind of have to try to maintain that perspective. You're focusing on these tragedies and what's wrong and how to fix problems. But you can't lose sight that's the whole story, that everything's going to hell in a handbasket. There's lots of good things that are happening out there, and we have a responsibility to write and talk about those things too. And it's good for us. Sometimes when I was coming up, the positive feel-good stories were dismissed as fluff. They're not real journalism. That's totally wrong. We need to understand the whole picture of what's happening in our life, in our society, good and bad. And the good stuff matters too. And that can affect change as well. Or it could, it can give people a sense of hope or faith. And that's important. It's important for us too. We can navigate this thing.
Right. I was just wondering about the role that competition played in telling the story. You mentioned the conference coverage and giving the cost to some things, but of course this became a national story. Just how you dealt with that and in the building. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. Yeah, so it's in our blood, and we go head to head with the Chronicle. It's been harder and harder with the shrinking staff. It's really small, but I will say on this particular story, we had the advantage where we pulled in all of our sister papers, right, the Mercury News. So we all of a sudden had a much larger presence, and the fact that this particular story happened in our backyard, and we got such a head start on what was going on. So we had some very skilled folks come from the business department to help out. We had some very skilled folks come in from the Mercury News who've been around for a long time that were just very adapted at reporting and getting to the heart of the matter, continuing to dig and dig. We talked a little bit about our investigative work. We have an investigative reporter in Kurhi who has been spending, I think, still in Oakland all the time now, digging into the story. So, and also in a big story like this too, and I'm sure it's for the Chronicle and New York Times, the LA Times, everybody has people working the story. You kind of get little bits and pieces, like they may have something that we didn't have, or we will have something they didn't have. And so we're all sort of feeding off each other with this big breaking story like this. So in some regards, that competition is a healthy thing. So the Express will have something, and so we start tracking that down. But I think that the overall, the continual coverage that we have. I think the first day we had 3 or 4 stories in the paper. The next day, and even more coverage online. So I think just the breadth and the way that we really stuck with it has really shown through on this bigger story. Yeah, there's the stuff that the Cron had, or there's stuff that we didn't have, and vice versa. But I think overall, our continuing coverage and the depth of our coverage is
I'll just add a little quickly that this was a lot of breaking stories I've been involved in the last couple of years that drew, the regional and national attention. This was the first case where I really felt strongly that we had dominated the coverage, and that was a lot of feedback we had gotten from, people who were affected by the story, both here and nationally, and usually in these cases, you feel like you're ahead on some things, you're behind on other things. You're playing catch up here or there. You're trying to get out in front. And at the end of the day, you kind of you feel like you're the best you can. You look back and run the can from it. But this goes back to my previous comment about entering Pulitzer. This was really a case where I thought our organization just dominated the coverage, and it was just all about people collaboration. That's really simple to get. It's about people coming. We don't have the staff that we had 5 years ago or 10 years ago. We don't have a number of reporters or editors or photographers. But when a big story like this happens, we have plenty of people who can own the story if we're going to come together and work as a team. That's exactly what happened.
I'll just add one thing on this process. On those days, there was a lot of paranoia and fear that I'm missing something that's going to be a competition. But in terms of the ghost ship coverage, it really wasn't time to worry about that. That would be a distraction. How I worked on those days was as much reporting as possible with my colleagues. And then at the end of the day, I checked to make sure we didn't miss anything. Most days, we didn't miss anything. We missed a tidbit here or a tidbit there. Spending the whole day worrying about what the LA Times is doing wasn't really worth my time. We had we need to focus on what we were doing that day. And if they beat us to something, so be it. We'll pick that up.
I like to add one more thing to this, because in these sorts of stories, or it doesn't even have to be this big of a story, but there's a usual progression where you cover the heck out of something, and you really throw everything you have at it, and then you're digging and you do good coverage for a couple of days, and then it's just sort of natural lull that takes over. And you feel like, oh, we've done our best work, we've had a big Sunday centerpiece on this, and then it's like, there's this tendency to kind of let go a little bit. and sometimes that can get, scooped, or somebody wouldn't kind of let that wall take over. At least that did not happen on the story at all. I mean, one of the, in addition to the amazing first few days covered, as you can see that next weekend story, that TikTok that people were talking about, it's just, I mean, to come back with something like that, but the first week was just absolutely. So the reporters never let up, and they're still working.
So, as I said, that kind of leads into the question I have. But first off, thanks so much for coming over, and congratulations again. I think you guys, your coverage has really stood out for the stamina and tenacious coverage and ongoing, which makes me a little curious because clearly the story, you're still covering it. There's much more to do. How, or do you worry about reader fatigue on the topic? Like, is that something, I mean, certainly with a Pulitzer, you have a little more leeway to say, hey, there's more coming, but how do you kind of keep, or maybe avoid that, or show readers there's more?
Well, there definitely has been reader fatigue, and we have the, luxury of metrics that gauge how many readers are reading particular stories and how what's happening in terms of the trend where the readership is falling off. And so we've talked a little bit that there is reader fatigue. But in terms of the investigative aspects of the story that really goes to how this is allowed to happen, that doesn't really come into play, or that's not effective. I mean, we're still focused on getting to the bottom of this to make a difference and to let the public know what they need to know in order to prevent the type of tragedy from happening again. But to some extent, in some of the more feature-oriented coverage that you may want to do, or more incremental coverage, it definitely is something you have to think about, and readers move on to other topics, and you have to be sensitive to that to some degree. That's the reality of the work camp. That's the reality of the business. You need content that readers are interested in and following, and you have to make those, especially when you use and train resources, you have to make those decisions all the time about what not to do and what to do, and where to find those trade-offs.
So, with regard to breaking news, whether it's an earthquake or a fire or whatever we tend to cover around here, sometimes I sense a little hesitancy on the students' part to say, well, me? I mean, should I go out and cover breaking news? And it's a real comfort zone thing for some people, And sometimes I think they're waiting for somebody to call them and tell them to do it, or I'm as an old fire horse myself. I mean, that's the point where I realize I've got an equal chance of telling this story. My chance of telling this well is the same as every other journalist in the world right now. I just wonder if you have any words of encouragement about getting these guys out the door to cover breaking news.
Yes, absolutely. So I like to say that yes, go cover breaking news. You can always offer what you get to a paper like us or to the Chronicle, or you can do that. You can write it for the paper here. You can write something online, but you see something happening or you hear about something and you should just go. I will also say that there's been some pretty amazing student coverage that has beat the paid competition. Whether I'm trying to remember what it was recently, whether some student paper decided to dig a little bit more into the new principal or something. Yeah, high school. So that happens. One of my stories where that actually happened to me was I used to cover the city of Berkeley as a reporter, and we were covering this horrible story about a young girl who was found dead, and she was working in a hotel of an Indian restaurateur and a real estate guy, it was a horribly tragic story. We were starting to cover some of it, but it was the Berkeley High School journalism students that just said, that asked a simple question of, this girl's 15 years old, how can she learn in school? I mean, so you have this always have a little bit different perspective. And they broke that case wide open because it turned out that he was bringing girls, sex slaves and cheap labor and all this sort of stuff. So yes, by all means, go get involved, ask the questions, get a press pass of some sort if you have issue want to have at school. And go out there and ask questions.
One thing on that topic, it was kind of a broader issue, is that I think one of the negative things about the advent of the internet over the last few decades in journalism is that it's 95% positive for the opportunities that open up for reporting, but it has made it a lot easier just to report from your desk. And a lot of folks have fallen into that habit of just relying on their computers, their email, the internet, phone calls, text to do their reporting. And I just wanted, I could say definitively, the best journalism always comes from getting outside the office, out of the newsroom, and talking to people, observing what's happening. The best stories, whether it's investigative stories, breaking news stories, what have you, and it becomes much easier, not just for young journalists, but veteran journalists, to simply sit at their desk day after day and writing key stories based on, the tools, the technological tools we have at our fingertips. And to some extent, it's become a hurdle in good journalism.
I think we have some people who need to get to class, so let's give a big round of applause to these folks. Maybe you can stick around and have some lunch. We also have some little gifts for you, which I'll be passing out. And thank you again. This was really a fabulous presentation. And like I said, we're so proud of you. I've worked with some of you, I've taught some of you, and it's really heartwarming for us to see our graduates go on and do really good things. So thanks a lot. Let's do one more round.
Students have sign-in sheets going around. Even if you are in a class right now, you can still sign in. This is a credit for Lisa's class or whoever's class.
All right. Very nice.